Today I'm going to share with you a few key points to consider when building a greens bubbler. I'm Andy Chamberlain from UVM Extension Ag Engineering. Welcome to the lab. So greens bubblers are relatively simple in design and pretty cheap to build. I'm going to walk you through the way this one's set up. So first of all, I'm in the lab here, so this is not installed on the farm per se. The blower motor should be connected to a wall. The switch should be safely secured away from the water. Right now it's just clamped to an old wash machine. So make sure you install everything with good distances for electrical safety. So the theory of principle here is you have a hot tub blower or a jacuzzi pump that blows air through a 2-inch tube down pipes with holes drilled in them in the bottom. This causes bubbles, the bubbles cause agitation, and the agitation is what knocks the dirt and debris off your salad greens. So that's all there is to it. Now I've got a pretty simple design here. One tube off the motor, and then it forks out into 2 long pipes running down each side. Now, because it's blowing air and it's made of PVC, which is light, I had to fabricate some weights in order to hold the thing down. So I found the best, cheapest way to do that was just a piece of 3-inch PVC. This whole thing is 24 inches long, and I filled it with all-purpose sand. Picked up a bag at the hardware store, easy enough. And then I can glue these caps on, haven't yet, but I can, into one solid piece that's easy to clean. And it's just a good weight that holds the apparatus down. Now, one may or may not be enough. I've included a second one here as well, just to make sure nothing floats away. And they're not going to impede on the bubbles at all. The one on this side is sitting on top of, I call it the manifold, kind of close to the elbows. And then the one on this side is on top of holes, but I don't think it's going to affect anything. Now, one neat trick here that I did that I haven't seen on a lot of other bubblers yet is I made everything easy to disassemble using cam lock fittings. So let's just take off the motor here for a second and show you how it's put together. Set the blower off to the side, and then everything here is assembled with cam locks. So you can take this all apart. So there's your downpipe there. And then you've got these 2 horizontal pieces that can be undone. No tools required, no screwing anything. And then this is what I'm calling the manifold. So that makes everything really easy to clean. You've got just these pieces here as the horizontals that run down the outside. Right now nothing is glued, it's just press fit together, which may be fine, but if it blows apart, you could glue like this fitting onto here. You could even glue the end cap because you can get a bottle brush down inside to clean this out. But if you can get away with it, I'd recommend not gluing it. That way you can get a bottle brush all the way through, which makes it even easier to clean. In addition to making it easier to clean, it would be great to have either a post or something on your stand, or maybe a little hook that you could set these on when you're done for the day so they can hang and dry and they aren't sitting wet in between use. So I've got these 2 pieces here and then this manifold. This manifold is the only piece that is glued together. That way I could get all the elbows and stuff from blowing apart. Like I said, this one's going to be a little bit more challenging to clean, but the thought being is that each of these segments is pretty short. So if you have a flexible bottle brush, you should be able to get access to everything in here. And because everything's cam lock, it makes it really quick to put together and really easy to disassemble. I like that. It adds a fair amount of additional cost, but if you're using this thing every day or regularly on your business, I think it's well worth it. Now, one design aspect that you could do differently is to get a couple more elbows and a piece around here to hold these together from being flimsy. I think it's probably good enough. And that's not needed. That also adds, one more thing that may be tricky to clean. Now, one thing to consider with using these cam lock fittings is you got the cam lock fittings and then a couple couplers to convert from threaded back to slip fit pipe. and that takes up quite a bit of space. So you do lose area that you could put holes in. So that's part of the reason why I didn't tie these ends together, because if I wanted to keep it easy to clean, I'd ideally want to use a couple more cam lock fittings to connect the other end piece, and I'm just losing that much more area for holes. I haven't washed greens with this yet, but I think it would do just fine. I've got one hole every inch, and I went with an 1/8 inch hole. A 16th inch hole was a little bit small. I broke a bit because those small drill bits are easy to snap. And the smaller the hole also makes the smaller the bubble. And I think I want something a little bit more aggressive than that. I did do a demo up to 1/4 inch in size, but that made really big aggressive bubbles, which is probably fine for some really hardy greens, but might be apt to bruise some of the softer greens. So without actually testing it on greens, my hypothesis would be that an 1/8 inch hole spaced every inch, which is 20 per pipe, would be about right. Now, talking with growers, they did say that having kind of a dead zone on their bubbler isn't bad, because it causes the agitation in the leaves and the dirt and any bugs kind of settle off to one side. So I think having this kind of dead end is probably a benefit. And then, like I stated earlier, this weight just sits across here down on this end, so it's not affecting the bubbles at all. Another trick that you could do to make this a little bit more streamlined is they make float valves specifically for these 100-gallon stock tanks. So you could fix one of those on here as to not overfill it. Then you can just turn the hose on and forget about it. If you don't want one that mounts right there, you've got a different tank. They make a Hudson float valve, which works very similarly, and you can order those offline. I was able to get these banjo fittings online, but there are some, I think, gator lock fittings available at local tractor and farm ag stores, which is where I got the big ball valve for the drain. Those 24-inch long weighted sections also fit right in between these grooves on the tank, so they're not gonna move around a whole lot. I like the fact that they're easy to clean and kind of just a simple DIY unit as well. Any details about this bubbler that I forgot to mention will be linked in the blog post down in the description below, so be sure to check that out for all the info on this, as well as other photos of different greens bubbler setups that worked well for other farmers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video back here in the lab. Another trick you can do is use a light dimmer switch, so you can control just how fast the motor is blowing, and you can dial it back for different crops, save some noise or energy consumption.